So this is my experience with robotics and navigation systems. And we discussed before for patient satisfaction, maybe 20% of the patients are not satisfied, maybe less, maybe more, we don't know. We all know all the alignments we discussed before. And we must remember all the native alignment of the knee, and we need to restore this with the total knee arthroplasty, right? This is our goal. So you must don't forget the gaps. You must not forget the patellofemoral tracking and all the principles that you must restore when we do a total knee arthroplasty. Regarding anatomical alignment, I mean, it was rejected back those years that we didn't have any measurement to restore, to do the precise three-cut resection. Regarding after that, the mechanical alignment is coming. It is considered normal. It is a gold standard. We all know the principles of mechanical alignment we discussed before, so I don't have to insist more in the mechanical alignment. And it comes the kinematic alignment now. What was the assumption that if the surfaces of the implants are where the original pre-arthritic knee used to be the component, it will be coaxial to the kinematic axis. This was assumed to improve the outcomes. We must not forget the axis rotation, which is the most important, is the primary cylindrical axis of the femur. And we all know that the green one is a little bit valgus, more entirely rotated than the transepicondylar axis. This is the principle of axis, the three-axis kinematics, and we all know that we have the femoral rollback, so we try to restore the normal knee biomechanics. To have the translation of medial side is 2 millimeters, lateral is 20 millimeters. So this is our goal. Previous years, we have that they said that the balance gaps are the gold standard, but now the things have changed, and we try to have a small laxity in the lateral side during flexion in order to restore all the femoral rollback. So this is the principles of kinematic alignment. So we all know, and this is our goal is to restore the three-axis kinematic alignment. What about the restricted kinematic alignment? We all know that there are some patients that may have an inherently biomechanically inferior knee anatomy. So what about them? Is there a safe range? Yes, we think that there is a safe range. And what we do in restricted kinematic alignment, we try to have the tibial femoral cuts within 5 degrees of the mechanical axis, and the overall alignment must be within plus minus 3 degrees of neutral. How can we execute that? Of course, with robotics, with the new technology, with navigation, whatever you choose. And is there any difference between this one and the kinematic alignment? I think that both kinematic and restricted is the same family, so one surgeon that performs kinematic alignment, he must incorporate also the restricted kinematic alignment to his procedure. I would like to insist in these both basic principles of restricted kinematic alignment. We try to have a post-operative HK ankle should be maintained within plus minus 3 degrees. To have a lateral distal LDFA and MPTA may be limited to maximum of 5 degrees, and try to have a collateral ligament balance without the gap balancing technique. We try to preserve the native femoral anatomy because it is considered to be more important for knee biomechanics, and we try to resect the thickness, or to resect the femur with the thickness equal to the width of the implant in the unworn side. For the worn side, we try to adjust our cuts. These are the basic principles of restricted kinematic alignment. We discussed before about arithmetic kinematic axis, and why is this important? Because the calculation of this arithmetic axis is not affected by joint space, narrowing, or tibia femoral subluxation, and it is also independent of the joint line convergence angle. This is how we calculate the angle of the arithmetic HKA. And we must not forget, of course, the CPAC. We have a lot of discussions before, and so I will not insist in this. Try to remember that the CPAC classification incorporates constitutional alignment and joint line obliquity. And how all these things are combined. We all know that the CPAC boundaries for neutral HKA are 0, plus minus 2. CPAC boundaries for a neutral joint line, the orientation is 180 degrees plus minus 3. And there is a restricted safe zone. Which is the safe zone? Which are the limits? 26 to 93 degrees for recreation of both LDFA and PTA, and minus varus to 4 plus 4 valgus for the final MHK. As we discussed, FDA approved boundaries is 6 varus to 3 valgus for HKA, 6 valgus to 3 varus for distal femoral sections, and plus minus 6 for the transepicondylar axis. As we discussed in the panel before, previously, we must take care of osteoporotic knees so we can narrow the range. And if you are out of the final mechanical axis, you must reduce the cuts of the femoral tibia to be within the safe zone. These are the principles. If you apply all these things, it is supposed to have this correction for kinematic and mechanical alignment. This is the comparison, how we can correct the axis. And this comes the robotics. I'm familiar with the CORI, so whatever machine you use, the robotics can help you to collect between joint laxity, to restore the femoral rotational axis, to choose how much tibia you must resect, or to have an anterior posterior reference. So we have all this information. And we must not forget that either machine, you use machine or conventional, we must not, we always take account the mechanical axis. It's very important. So all the devices calculate the mechanical axis previously in order to have the center of rotation. You have all this information with the robotics, and you can combine the mechanical alignment, you can combine restricted kinematic alignment, or you can combine also factual alignment. So you have all these options with robotics. And at the final, you must have this post-op assessment, have some laxity in order to have a good femoral rollback, and you need to have this, if you want, this kinematic configuration. We check all the range of motion at the end of the procedure, and we have a good stability, mediolateral stability when you check, and you have this good range of motion of the knee. So you can check throughout the operation what you want to go, or if you're not happy, you go back. So this is why now I perform a lot of bilateral knee arthroplasties in the same patient in one operation. So we have these good results from the first operative day. And also, if you want to have a good outcome, 3 weeks post-operative, you have a good range of motion, and the patients are very satisfied, and they can go back earlier to hair work. I mean, if you stay on the principles, the same, another knee here, you have a good, another bilateral total knee arthroplasty with a great range of motion, very balanced, and patient satisfaction high. So, which is the philosophy of RK? I'm finished, sorry for the delay. The pre-op planning and intra-op robotic validation minimize implant failure risks, minimize bone resection, restore native soft tissue laxities, restore physiological gait patterns, reduce the requirement of soft tissue releases. I think that a combination of RKA and factual alignment may be the best outcome. And which are the crucial parameters? Whichever machine you use must have a very accurate robotic system, good implants, and you must have a good polyethylene insert. It's very important. The literature is broad, so you all know about that. I would like to thank you for the invitation. Thank you for patience, whatever.